Hi, this is Charlie with Atheology, and I felt it incumbent upon myself to explain the ridiculousness that is Exodus of Gods and Kings, the epic film by Ridley Scott, or should I say, the epic piece of propaganda. And it's a shame because the film starts off quite well. It warms up, threatening to be this. Perhaps this story behind the myth with Moses' interactions with God occurring after he strikes or he is struck on the head with a large rock in a landslide, and then it starts inspiring a bit of a rebellion, some kind of insurgency by training up people to fight for the cause, and just as it looks like it's going to run a fine line between the myth in the Bible and perhaps a more believable tale that could have inspired it, which it would have been possible because things like locusts eating crops and disease and flies and all this kind of stuff, these are all real world problems that have happened to people over many hundreds, thousands of years. Instead of, going along those lines, no, just gets to a point where things aren't quite working out, and the little boy God comes down and goes, all right, my turn. Let's have a little play, and starts inflicting pain and suffering on people because that's what God does. The God of the Old Testament likes to kill and maim and murder, especially children. Quite good at that. Let's just sweep through the Egyptians and kill their firstborn because, hey, he's so powerful that he can part seas and wipe out armies, but he can't intervene apart from in the most obtuse ways, as per the tale. Yeah, so it quickly goes from what could have been a very interesting film into this piece of propaganda where it just more or less word for word passes on the events that happened in the Bible, and it's an absolute farce because if you're to believe any of it, so this all-powerful, all-knowing God that can do almost anything, he leaves his people as slaves for 400 years. I mean, how much suffering does he want there to be before he actually gets involved and does anything? And the people talk about like prophecies. Oh, there was a prophecy that a boy would be born in this year that would free the Hebrew people. In that kind of period, with people suffering for the length of time that they were suffering, there was probably prophecies made every 6 months in terms of who would come and free the people. Oh, this is going to happen. These people are going to be freed. It's called hope. It's called slaves wanting to be free. And eventually, if you keep making prophecies, one may come true, and it may get transcribed down as a myth. And it could just have been a perfect timing of somebody there to lead them, combined with real world problems like a locust swarm, like a lack of food, like a disease sweeping through the city and killing a lot of children. These things probably inspired the tale that we know today and that was written down in the Bible. It's not like these things haven't happened commonly throughout history. Famines and fires wiping out cities and diseases wiping. I mean, I'm British. We were damn near wiped out by the Black Plague. These things, they've happened throughout history. And he could, Ridley Scott really could have ploughed a really interesting narrative where there's a man who thinks he's inspired by God and these things are happening, and given room for both the Christian community to say, yes, this is God leading Moses and inspiring these catastrophes, and because Christians are happy that God inflicts pain on others, that and then they could have bought into their myth, and the rest of us could have said, so that's perhaps how the myth was formed. It could have been so much more than it was, and instead it was just a piece of chest thumping by a Christian who wanted to put one of the more ridiculous biblical tales onto film. And honestly, if I were you, and I'm not a Christian, I would not watch Exodus of Gods and Kings. It's a load of old hat, as we say in the UK. This is Charlie with Atheology. Thanks for watching.